Hello, this is Ramael, and today I wanted to speak about something which is very important to so many of us, and something that is very important to my identity as a person and as a spiritual seeker who started about 25 years ago to take actual courses and to try to understand who he was. For the last 15 years, I've been working with people in the service of consciousness. And what I want to speak about today is specifically the sense, the deep sense that I've always had of not belonging, the deep sense of feeling that I was different and somehow too sensitive, very weak, and just strange, I guess. I mean, inside, I never felt that I was strange, but it has been very difficult to find people like myself, even in the spiritual world, even amongst my colleagues who are mentors and teachers of consciousness. I find that I'm even amongst these people quite different. And now I realize that's a good thing, and it's a source of strength, and I value this difference because I realize the purity that I hold, the vibration that I hold, the goodness that I hold, and the true love, and the need to help people is very, very precious and very, very valuable. It is a rare gift. It is something that I was never taught to value, but it is something that is, I realize, magnificent and rare. And I think that many of you who will be watching this video who are called to connect with it may very well be very similar, may very well have a similar vibration, a vibration of purity, transparency, honesty, something that is rare today, something that has always been rare, and something that we were never taught to value. So this sense of not belonging that I've carried, this pain of not belonging to any specific place, is something that is connected to my story. Having been born in Russia, but really the first generation, my brother and I were the first generation to have been born in Russia. My mom's family is a Jewish family that comes from Ukraine, and my father's family, also a Jewish family that comes from Belarus. My mom's family comes from a small town in the southern Ukraine. I guess the closest big city is Odessa, although it's not in the Odessa region. It's the region next door to the Odessa region. And this town is actually called Bobrinets, and it is famous because a very famous Russian revolutionary called Leon Trotsky was born and lived in this town. Now, my story starts as a kid. I was born in Russia, but my family lived in Minsk, the capital of Belarus. And I remember going at the age of 7 to get a library card from the library. I was in first grade and I loved to read. Once I started to read, I loved reading. And I loved reading very specific kinds of books. I loved reading books about World War II and all kinds of indigenous people from the Americas. And I remember trying to sign out a book, trying to get a library card, and the librarian asked me about my nationality. Now, in the Soviet Union, Jewish was not a religion, but a nationality. And this is something that is because of a historical issue that has to do with Napoleon. When Napoleon invaded Europe, he decided to change the context of the Jewish people. So when he invaded parts of Italy, he basically told the Italian Jews, you are not Jewish, which was a nationality at that time. You are Italians, your religion is Jewish. And these are Italians and their religion is Christian or Roman Catholic. So this concept, Napoleon was able to change for Western Europe, and this concept followed itself to the United States. But in Eastern Europe, in the Soviet Union, in Poland, in Romania, in Hungary, in the Baltics, Jewish was considered a nationality because Napoleon was not able to bring his reforms to these places. So, nationality, Jewish, was written in my birth certificate, and it would have been in my passport if I were an adult in the Soviet Union. And I would have been officially discriminated against just for being Jewish. And as this kid who went to get a library card, who had to lie when asked about his nationality, I basically said I was Belarusian because I knew being Jewish was not something very positive. Although there were no synagogues, there were no rabbis, there were no Jewish schools, there were no Jewish kindergartens, there was no Jewish community per se. And the Jewish community that existed before World War II was completely decimated by the Holocaust. My own family, most of it died in the Minsk ghetto during the Holocaust. And it's something that I'm dealing with for many, many years. This is why I started working with ancestral healing. And it's something really beautiful for me because my family is carried, my grandmother specifically, and my father, who was 2 years old when the war started, carried the guilt, the survivor's guilt, and I had to deal with a lot of guilt in my life. A lot of guilt and a lot of shame. Mix this with not belonging and the deep pain of feeling that a part of your family was massacred during the Holocaust just because they were Jewish is something very, very strong. And this is why I work with spirituality and specifically why I work with healing. And always feeling that I was too sensitive, I was too weak, while I now understand that I'm extremely pure and I have tremendous sensitivity. I do clairvoyant readings. I have tremendous gifts as a medium. So I realize that all of this, the purity, the transparency, the honesty, the goodness, the love, the true need and desire to serve and help people without being a strategic kind of manipulative person that has very, very different interests and will try to become friends with people in order to gain something from them. This is something that is very, very strange to me. I'm not here to say that I'm perfect and I never have lied and I've never manipulated, but I realize that my purity, which I never valued, which no one ever taught me to value, is something that is extremely rare and a huge gift. This purity, this goodness, this true desire to help people is a rare gift and is of a characteristic that is very, very valuable. And so now I value it. And not feeling belonging in the context of Belarus and the Soviet Union where I was born, because there was discrimination against me being Jewish, okay? And then moving to the United States and also coming to a Jewish school where I was discriminated for being Russian. This was in Brooklyn, New York in 1981 when I was 10 years old and then I turned 11. So then when I was 31 years old, which was 21 years ago, I came to Brazil and I felt an instant home. I felt that I had known this place and I felt such deep acceptance of being in Brazil. I can't even explain the feeling of coming home. And of course, 21 years old when I first came here, I didn't realize that Brazil had very powerful spiritual energy, the energy of healing, the energy of acceptance, but the Brazilian people accepted me. They didn't even know who I am. I don't think that the Brazilian people understand exactly what I do or who I am, but I feel such a deep unconditional acceptance and love like I never felt anywhere. So I decided to stay here. In the beginning, I didn't know why. Now, many years later, I know why. I have lived in Brazil many, many, many times as the woman who read me, and she's the widow of Louis Bostwick, who created oral readings that I've studied for the last 10 years. And I teach developing intuition and developing clairvoyance. She said to me, your energy is all Brazilian. You have lived in Brazil many, many times. You've had lives as a mayor, as a judge in Brazil. You worked with plants. You were an indigenous person in Brazil. You were a missionary in Brazil. So now it all makes sense, so many years later. Now it all makes sense. And I hope that your spiritual journey starts making sense to you, because all of the rough patches, all of the challenges and the difficulties on your spiritual journey have made you who you are today. Certainly, I recognize now that my ancestral work, which goes beyond ancestry, but also encompasses childhood traumas and encompasses things from karmic issues, which are from past lives. I have been specifically trained by traveling to more than 80 countries, by studying with so many spiritual teachers and masters over the years, and also learning all over the world. I invested all of my time and all of my money for the last 13 years, I would say, to really take courses and to learn with teachers and to really dive deeply into my wounds and into my pain and to transmute what is blocking love, what is blocking abundance, what is blocking my ability to come back to my essence. And now this is the work that I also teach, and my heart has been opened, and now I'm able to attract everything I need. And life has become one beautiful miracle after another. Life has become a daily dose of miracles and magic. And I've had to work a lot to feel that I deserve this, that I am worthy of this. And now I realize deeply that I've come to a place of acceptance of my own worthiness to receive the beauty that this universe is giving to me on a daily basis. People that I need come into my life daily. Opportunities come into my life daily. And I feel loved, accepted, seen, and heard. And this is very rare for someone like myself who felt misunderstood, never heard, never seen, never accepted. So I'm hoping that this video will provide inspiration, healing, and motivation for you if you're watching, if you're not in a good place, for you to work and to open yourself up and to pray to receive your own miracles. Because it's not to be jealous of others. It's really to understand that I did it, so you can do it. It is available to all. There is no person who's better than another person. I'm not special, but I am a rare swan. And maybe you're not a black sheep, but maybe you're a black swan as well. That's what I realized. I thought we were all black sheeps, but we are black swans. A swan is a powerful spiritual symbol of higher consciousness, elegance, and beauty. And so we're not a sheep, which is dumb. I don't think sheep are dumb, but symbolically, sheep are, a flock that follows one person, that follows the shepherd. Yet swans are beautiful, elegant, gorgeous birds that at one point were only able to be owned by royal families. For example, in Europe, if you were a peasant, a simple person, you could not own a swan. You would own a duck or a goose and you would eat it. Swans were never for food. They were something that was for the eyes, for the soul, because of its beauty and its majesty. So thank you for listening. And may the blessings of the universe come to your doorstep. And may you have the eyes that are open and the heart that is open to receive. Because beautiful blessings come to all of our doorsteps and we may not be feeling worthy or ready to receive.